Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Like back with another YouTube video. And in today's video we're gonna be doing a bit of a different video here. And I'll explain about it, but the title is gonna be like, let's talk about Mysterio specifically in the MCU. So yeah, just quickly I wanna go through something. So I kind of want to talk about some of the MCU villains. So I'm thinking about trying to do this series. It's not going to be a huge series per se, but it's going to be a little bit of a series. You guys are going to notice it a little bit on the channel. But basically, what it's meant to be uh, is that is that I want to be speaking about the villains and everything, and I'm going to be kind of talking about some of my favorite villains per se in the MCU. uh like I'm not gonna put it in any order. Like I'm just gonna probably do about three, maybe four of the MCU villains that I like and stuff like that. So yeah, without ado, let's get into this. So in today's case, we're doing the Mysterio or Quentin Beck, whatever you call him. I know some people definitely call him Quentin Beck, but personally, I always knew him as Mysterio. And yeah, I'm not gonna be talking. Another thing too to point out is I'm not gonna be talking about the comic, or I might talk a bit about the comic accuracy, but in some ways the change is a bit good. Like I think definitely I'll save for some other villains, but definitely the change is much needed. But anyways, anyways, so yeah, I won't be talking too much about like the comics version of these. This is solely just talking about the MCU version, whether they appear in a movie or multiple movies or whatever. But anyways, let's get into it. So in today's video, I decided to talk about Mysterio. Now, Mysterio, if you don't know, he is from the Far From Home movie. Definitely a good movie. Personally, that's what I think. I think it's a pretty good movie. Uh, and one of the reasons is this guy right here, Quentin Beck or Mysterio. Now, I have heard a lot of people say they didn't like Mysterio because he's super tech based and he involves a lot of random people and all this. And yeah, I get a sense of what's going on there. But personally, I thought it was actually pretty interesting. I thought it was very interesting to see what happened, and I'll explain definitely some more reasons after. But definitely there's some interesting going things going on with that. And personally, I don't mind it just because this movie was set right after Endgame, and Endgame, Tony Stark, of course, died. So that's gonna spawn in some new villains, especially with Beck. Because if you watch his backstory, you would have seen that basically he created the BARF program back in Civil War, which was like the artificial reality program. Kind of, I can't remember exactly what it stands for. Uh, but of course, Quentin Beck, of course, took it as like Tony Stark's making fun of me, so I'm gonna have to just bully, like, stop him and whatever. When in reality, if you remember in Civil War, they basically he literally just said that because he just created acronym based on what its real name. And in his scene, it had the crowd, and it was laughing at him, which wouldn't really happen. So there you get motive number one. He wants to destroy Tony Stark, but Tony Stark's already destroyed. Now we also see something that could be deeper meaning to something, or we could even maybe see it if he's in No Way Home or he's in a future Spider-Man movie or whatever. Uh, is the sense that he believes that the world basically doesn't care if you're smart, doesn't care if you're talented anymore. All you need is like a suit of armor or a suit of armor or superpowers or whatever. Who it doesn't matter exactly who you are. They just want to see that, which is actually very interesting if you think about it, because like it kind of opens your eyes a little bit to exactly what's going on and everything. Like definitely, if you think about it too, is you realize his whole like all those people that were helping him as well, who were kind of former associates of say Tony Stark or whatever, uh, is the fact that if you realize all this, you you can imagine how many people probably Stark crossed. You can imagine how many he just pushed aside or whatever, and that just puts him into perspective even more, and just what kind of a person he was. I mean, I'm thinking he could have crossed way more people. Just didn't have a chance like how he had it, and a few others. So I kind of understand exactly where Mysterio is coming from. So it's not a big problem there. I mean, obviously it's a big problem. I mean, I wouldn't destroy and kill a whole bunch of people, but I mean, you kind of understand where he's coming from and stuff like that. So yeah. Another thing I really liked about this villain is the fact that, and I noticed a lot of people don't realize this too, is he has absolutely nothing at all. Like he has, I guess he has a mind, but like a very skilled. He's very smart and stuff like that. He has absolutely like no fighting style, no superpowers, none of that, and he was basically besting Spider-Man, if you believe it or not, which I thought was pretty cool. Like he he didn't pit anybody against each other or anything, because if you remember, of course, Zemo, he didn't have any of these things too, but of course he pit the Avengers against each other, so that was kind of a win for him. But I mean, he didn't win the whole movie, but he did win for some of it. Uh, is that kind of charm and stuff like that? That was pretty cool. How he's able to just beat Spider-Man even though that was happening. Uh, and I'm pretty happy to see, like, that's something I really liked about Mysterio, even through the comics and stuff. I know sometimes he has magic, and I said I didn't want to talk about comics and stuff, but that's just something I like about the comics as well. It's his master. He's a master of illusions and stuff, and it's interesting to see how one person with illusions can trick a superpower person and everybody. So that's interesting as well. I thought it was very interesting. Uh, I thought, yeah, interesting enough as well. Uh, Another thing too, I don't know. This is just personally me. His costume design is awesome. I think he looks really cool. In my personal opinion, I think he looks awesome. His whole costume is just great and pretty cool. Now let's just address kind of like why people don't like him. Tech based. I mean, personally, a lot of the MCU villains are tech based because again, Tony Stark created most of the problems in the MCU. If you think about it, uh, so of course that's gonna spawn in some tech-based villains and stuff like that. And he's also using Tony Stark's tech and stuff like that, which actually makes sense. And more of it, that's more of like an adaptation too, which I think was really interesting and a much-needed change. So that was interesting as well. Uh, Another thing is how he utilizes these random people. Again, I think it was just even better. It increases the chance of motives, and he also makes a lot of more sense into because just imagine if, say, he was by himself and he was doing all this. It's likely it wouldn't make too much sense for that be matter. But yeah, he's still a very interesting villain. I think he's very interesting. Uh, and also the fact that he kind of tricked Spider-Man too, I thought was interesting as well. Because if you remember, he's just basically playing Shield and Spider-Man the whole time, and I definitely thought that was interesting as well. And I thought it was very interesting the way he did it and everything too. So yeah. Anyways, that's basically it. I don't know who I'm gonna do for the next one. I'm thinking of maybe doing Killmonger. I'm thinking of doing, but anyways, that's basically it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.